Welcome into Home Run, Great Client Experiences, a podcast by NFM TV. I'm your host, Gene DePaula. Today we have a really great story. I'm really excited to share it all with you. We have our very happy client, Deloshier Greene. She is in Chesterfield, Virginia. Welcome, Deloshier.
Hello.
We also have realtor Sandra Johnson. She's with J&S Real Estate in Midlothian, Virginia. She was the fabulous buyer's agent in this transaction. Welcome, Sandra.
Hello, Gene. How are you?
I'm doing great, thanks. Last but not least, we have branch manager from Richmond, Virginia with NFM Lending, Greg Cowart. Welcome, Greg. Great to talk to you again.
Hi, everybody. Good to see everyone again.
Absolutely. Deloshier, let's start with you. I want to get some background in your story. Tell us about how you came to be looking for a new home.
So we were previously in North Carolina. My husband is in the Army. We moved to Virginia. He was supposed to come here for a certain period of time for training. So we ended up renting an apartment. We thought we were only going to be there for a couple months, but things happened and he got stationed here. So then we decided to start looking for a home. So we were looking online and we saw this house and it was in a new development. We talked to our awesome realtor, Elder Sandra Johnson, about this new construction house. And she went to see it for us, video chatted. It was awesome. We came to see it and we fell in love.
Now, I also understand, though, that this house suddenly became available, so you had to act quickly. Is that right?
Yes, someone had already built this home and something fell through on their part. So yes, we had to act quickly. When we came to see the home, there were, I think, 2 other families who were also looking at the home. So when we found it, it was a crazy market, so we had to move quickly.
And speaking of that, Greg, you suddenly got a phone call on a Saturday that this house was available, that Deloshier and her husband wanted to move on it. You knew you had to move quickly. Tell me about getting that call and your steps when you know that you've got to act quickly to make sure that your clients get in that house.
Yeah, a lot of real estate happens after hours and on the weekends. Sandra can definitely attest to that. This is a real dilemma for loan officers because it's not healthy to work 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. I'm lucky to have a team and we rotate being on call on the weekends. And so many things came together on this one that were all so cool the way it all played out. It really helps you believe in divine intervention. I happen to be the loan officer on call. And if I remember right, I happened to be working when they called in that day. Sandra, thanks to her for saying, give Greg a call. And all of a sudden there was a lot of urgency that we had to figure something out quick because not only was the Greene family interested in this house, other families were as well.
So you get the call from Deloshier. Most people think, okay, at that moment you say to her, all right, go online and start uploading documents, but that's not the way you work. Tell me how you approach it.
The negative part of our digital age is that we're forgetting the human connection and to really learn, talk, listen. And so, yeah, Gene, we like to start off with just like a 30 to 45 minute conversation over the phone, mostly focused on what the customer wants. And that's how we started that day. I think it was both Deloshier and her husband, Desmond, and I just remember kind of listening to them and what their experience was. And that was the first step.
Great. Now, Sandra, this was new construction, and there are a lot of times when people go into new construction, and because it's new construction and there's a builder involved, they maybe think that they don't necessarily need a real estate agent in that situation. Why do you think people should use a real estate agent, even if they're going into a pre-planned community?
Because they want to have representation. The person that is there, usually the site agent, they can absolutely write the contract up for them. They can do the paperwork. They can get them to Greg. But at the same time, they work for the developer or the builder. And so you basically are going in with no representation, which you have a right to. And so you want to make sure that you have someone that's watching out for you specifically.
Talk about how you came to recommend Greg to Deloshier.
Well, Greg and I had worked together back for a long time, many years. And I know his experience, his background. He's able to go in and get them done. they were under a time crunch. And so I knew and I trusted him to be able to get them to closing on this home.
Deloshier, this was a VA loan. Your husband Desmond, as we mentioned, is in the Army, but you were concerned about the ability to use entitlements. You had talked to some other lenders, I understand, and they told you, this is going to have to be an FHA loan, that there was no entitlement available. But in talking to Greg, you found out that that wasn't necessarily the case.
We did a pre-approval with someone else, and she was basically saying we would have to come out of pocket with a lot of money that we did not have. When we talked to Greg, he was like completely different. We kind of thought it was too good to be true, honestly, because he told us, not a lot of people know how to work the VA loan. Let me see what I can do. I'm pretty sure I can get everything that you need without coming out of pocket. And he definitely did it. Like, he was the master at the VA loan.
So Greg, let me ask you about that, because this is really interesting. I know a lot of people will have questions about this, especially people looking for a VA loan. Explain how the VA entitlement works and how you came to maximize the benefits for this couple.
Yeah, VA is such a great reward for the sacrifice that our military make in protecting us and keeping us all safe. It is 100% financing at a competitive interest rate. And Gene, what makes it so unique is that it doesn't have mortgage insurance, monthly mortgage insurance, which in this case probably saves a family upwards of $300 a month. So when I had talked to the Greene family, I just really wanted to make sure that there was no way that we could get VA. I wanted to rule that out first. That's a significant amount per month that they would be incurring. And if I remember right, everyone wants it all. I talk about that a lot. It's okay to want it all. And we really wanted to hit a certain payment on this house that fit their family. And the other lenders had it half right. Gene, the VA gives the veteran a certain amount of money they can use on their VA loan. And it was true that the Greene family had exceeded on this house what was needed. But where the other lender missed is there's some interesting math you can do that by making some sort of down payment, you can quickly become within eligibility limits. So the irony here was the 3% they were going to have to put down with FHA brought them within the VA entitlement limits. And no one, I don't know why, but it is a little confusing. And VA is a loan that the more you do it, it's so unique, the better you understand it. And certainly enough, in this point, by putting down 3%, they fell within the VA limits and we could proceed with the lower payment versus FHA.
The previous person that was going to buy the house had also been using a VA loan. So they had a VA appraisal. Since it had been done so long before, the value of the house was lower then. So, if you had to use that appraisal, that could have affected how much money they would have had to bring to the table. But you actually came up with a way that was, I guess, maybe a little bit of a gamble, but it ended up working out for you. Explain that to us.
Yeah, and I don't know how much the Greene family really knows about all that was going on behind the scenes. And the VA is one of these weird loans where the appraisal sticks with the house. But we learned that the old VA appraisal expired like the week before closing. And so as long as I waited until then to order the VA appraisal, we could assign a new VA appraisal to this property. And really, it allowed them to buy the house with a lower payment, a lower interest rate, and less money out of pocket. Even better, Sandra did a great job of really working with us that Saturday and Sunday over the weekend to try to be sure we could even include getting closing costs covered. And Sandra, if I remember correctly, we were able to not only get the appraisal to meet the purchase price, but also roll in some of the closing costs into the purchase price to really minimize how much money the Greene family need to bring.
Absolutely. And it's about, again, the lender and the realtor working together hand in hand to make things happen for our client, because it is our client and they're the ones that we're trying to get things done for.
Deloshier, how did both Sandra and Greg do, letting you know where your loan was, where you were in the purchase transaction the whole time?
Elder Sandra is awesome. Her communication through text or email was consistent. Like anytime we had a question, it didn't matter what what time it was. I think when I actually saw this house, it was like 11:30 at night. And I thought she would see it the next morning, and she actually texted back that night. As far as Greg and his team, or his team's way of communicating with you through email. And then also they have their website where it has a tracker where you can see exactly what step you're on. We could upload documents at any time. We didn't feel rushed because we knew that we could do it once we got home, and we would be able to see like if it was approved or if something else was needed.
And talk about customer service. I understand that Deloshier and her husband were moving from an apartment to a big home, and perhaps they might have needed some furniture. And I understand that, Greg, you actually offered some of your furniture to Deloshier and her husband. So tell me about that, Greg.
Deloshier is a teacher, and she was dealing with teaching and COVID, and she's got her own children who were at home as well. And she was just sharing with me how she was juggling all these balls, and they had been in this apartment longer than they thought. And she just radiates sunshine when you talk to her. And then to see her family, she just stuck with me. And we happened to be going through some changes in the house, and it's a big home they bought, and I just called her up one day and I said, I've got some furniture, feel free to swing by and take what you want. And I just love win-win. For me, I could feel good about where it was going. And for her family, is it perfect? Maybe, maybe not, but it still fills up a room and lets her have a good starting point. So that was just another cool way to honor them. And they're just a touching, wonderful family. It's really been a privilege.
And I know, like we've discussed, the family has a service background, and I know that you're big on helping and reaching out to service members. So Deloshier, last question for you. You moved in April. You have 2.5 kids, I believe you told me, right? You got one coming in soon. How are you loving your new house?
We love our new house. Yes, we have one on the way. So even though we thought we didn't need the extra room, we actually do need the extra room. So it's perfect. And thank you again, Greg, for the furniture, because it definitely helped. Of course, moving is expensive, and that saved us a ton of money. Like, that touched our hearts to know that you cared that much about us to offer that. So thank you again. And the house, we love it. The neighborhood is quiet. They're still building it up. It has so many bathrooms and sinks and rooms, more than we expected to have. So we are very blessed with what we have.
Well, thank you all. If anyone out there is interested in just a wonderful real estate agent, Sandra Johnson is with J&S Real Estate in Midlothian, Virginia. Her email is sundrajohnson, SUNDRA Johnson @gmail.com. Her phone number is 804-921-5572. Or a fabulous loan originator, that's Greg Cowart, we've been talking to with NFM Lending, G Cowart, GCOWART @nfmlending.com, 804-306-6463. This has just been a great interview. I really appreciate everyone being on and sharing this great story. Thank you all again.
Thanks, Gene. Thanks, Greene family. Thanks, Sandra.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You've been listening to Home Run Great Client Experiences, a podcast by NFM TV. Thanks again. We'll see you next time.
Home Run Great Client Experiences is a production of NFM TV and NFM Inc. NFM Inc. does business as NFM Lending, NMLS number 2893. Greg Cowart's NMLS number is 204399. This podcast is for informational purposes only. NFM Lending is not affiliated with any real estate companies. You are entitled to shop around for the best lender and/or real estate company for you. The real estate agent is not a mortgage lender. Contact NFM Lending directly to learn more about their mortgage programs and your eligibility for such programs. The experiences of clients appearing on this podcast are individual experiences of those who have used our services. NFM Inc. does not provide incentives for testimonials or reviews. NFM Lending is not a credit repair company. You should consult with a credit repair company to determine what may be best for your individual needs. This is not a credit decision or commitment to lend. Eligibility is subject to completion of an application and verification of home ownership, occupancy, title, income, employment, credit, home value, collateral, and underwriting requirements. NFM Inc. is not affiliated with or an agent or division of a governmental agency or depository institution. Copyright 2021.